we're back. And you know what that means. It's time for another deep dive. But this time things are a little different. You see, we're not the actual Mystery Quest team. We're their AI assistants. And well, they've given us a pretty interesting case to look at, see if it's, worth a full episode.
Definitely interesting. It's the case of Brandon Swanson, a 19-year-old who disappeared back in 2008 in rural Minnesota.
Yeah, and this one, this one's got it all, folks. We're talking conflicting evidence, strange phone calls, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. So buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride.
So to set the scene, it's May 14th, 2008. Brandon's out celebrating the end of the school year with some friends, has a few drinks, nothing too crazy, and then decides to head home.
Sounds pretty normal so far, right? Like a typical night out.
Exactly. But here's where things start to get a little strange. He's driving on these rural gravel roads. It's late at night, and he ends up going into a ditch.
Okay, so a little fender bender. Happens to the best of us.
Right, but here's the thing. His car was found later completely undamaged.
Undamaged?
Yep, no scratches, no dents.
So where was Brandon?
That's the million-dollar question. He was gone.
Okay, so we got a missing person. A car in a ditch. But no sign of Brandon himself.
And this is where things take an even stranger turn. While he's trying to find his way back, Brandon calls his dad.
Okay, so he's lost. Needs directions, makes sense.
Yeah, but this call is the heart of the mystery. It lasted 47 minutes, and during that time, Brandon's trying to tell his dad where he is, but the details he's giving are confusing. They're contradictory.
Contradictory how?
Well, for one thing, he mentioned seeing city lights.
City lights?
Yeah, but get this. Based on cell phone data, the authorities later figured out that he was miles, and I mean miles, from any urban area.
So what was he seeing?
Hallucination, trick of the light, or something else entirely.
I mean, that's a pretty big discrepancy.
Huge, and it just adds another layer to this whole puzzle.
So we've got a missing 19-year-old, a car in a ditch, a confusing phone call, and now we're talking about city lights that might not even exist. Where do we even go from here?
Well, that's the thing. Despite massive searches, we're talking scent dogs, volunteers, authorities, they covered over 120 square miles.
120 square miles.
Yeah. And they found absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
No clothes, no phone, no DNA. It's like he just vanished.
Poof.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so we're officially in Mystery Quest territory now.
Oh, absolutely.
So what are the leading theories on this one?
Well, the scent dogs did track him to the Yellow Medicine River, which was pretty high and fast-flowing at the time.
So maybe he fell in.
It's possible. Drowning is definitely a theory.
But they didn't find a body, right?
Nope.
And 120 square miles is a pretty extensive search area.
It is. And here's another twist. The scent trail, it continued on the other side of the river.
Hold on. So if he fell in, how did the scent get across the river?
Exactly.
Okay, this is officially a head-scratcher.
You could say that again?
So driving might not be the answer. What else are we looking at?
Well, we've got a few other possibilities, and some of them are pretty spooky.
Ooh. I knew there had to be some spooky stuff in here.
Yeah.
This is Mystery Quest after all.
Right.
So lay it on me. What are we thinking?
Well, stay tuned because we're about to dive into some of the more unconventional theories. The ones that make you go,
All right, folks, you heard it here first. We're going deep down the rabbit hole with this one. So grab your thinking caps and get ready for a truly mysterious ride.
All right, so we're back. And things are about to get a little weirder.
Weirder than a scent trail that swims across a river.
Oh, yeah. You know, Mystery Quest, they love to throw in a curveball or two.
So what kind of curveballs are we talking about here?
Well, in this case, it's drawn some comparisons to David Pollitz's missing 411 phenomenon.
Missing 411. Now, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
It is. And for those who aren't familiar with it, missing 411 focuses on these really strange disappearances, usually in natural settings.
National parks, forests, that sort of thing.
Exactly. And a lot of the hallmarks of missing 411, they kind of line up with what we see in Brandon's case.
Like what?
Well, for starters, the victims often vanish very quickly and quietly. No struggle, no signs of a fight.
Just poof, gone.
Pretty much. And then the searches, they usually turn up empty. No trace of the person, like what we saw with those extensive searches for Brandon.
And I remember, wasn't there something about conflicting information from witnesses?
Oh yeah, that's a big one too. Witnesses often give details that don't quite add up, or that contradict each other.
Kind of like how Brandon was talking about seeing city lights.
Exactly. So you see, there are some definite parallels here.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection. But Brandon wasn't in a national park or anything, was he?
No, he wasn't, but he was in a rural setting. Farmland, open fields that river.
So maybe not a classic missing 411 case.
Yeah.
But still some eerie similarities.
Right. And that's what makes it so intriguing.
Intriguing and a little bit creepy, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a creep factor here.
Especially when you consider some of the theories surrounding missing 411.
Oh, yeah, those can get pretty wild.
Talk to me about some of those theories.
Well, there's the idea of unknown predators. Maybe some kind of animal we haven't discovered yet.
Like a Bigfoot or something?
Hey, I'm not ruling anything out at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are geological anomalies, sinkholes, hidden caves, things like that.
So maybe he literally just fell into a hole in the ground.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Although you'd think they would found something during those searches.
You would think.
Okay, so we've got predators, we've got sinkholes. What other strange stuff are we dealing with here?
Well, this is where we get into the more fringe theories, the ones that are a little harder to swallow.
You mean like aliens and government conspiracies?
Exactly.
I knew it. Knew there had to be some alien talk in here somewhere.
Come on, it wouldn't be Mystery Quest without it.
True, true.
But hey, we're all about keeping an open mind here.
Absolutely. But even if we stick to the more grounded explanations...
There's still a lot of mystery to unpack.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, what about that farmer? The one whose property the scent dog led them to?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
He refused any further searches, right?
He did.
That's pretty suspicious, if you ask me.
It definitely raises some questions.
Like, what's he hiding?
Exactly.
And then there's the whole thing about the car doors. They were found wide open, weren't they?
They were.
So was that Brandon's doing? Or did someone else open them?
Good question.
Maybe they were trying to stage a disappearance.
Now that's an interesting thought.
It is, isn't it?
It really makes you wonder.
And that's what I love about this case.
There are just so many twists and turns, you never know what's coming next.
But even though it's a tragic story,
There's a silver lining.
a silver lining.
Yeah, Brandon's disappearance, it actually led to some positive changes.
Really? How so?
Well, his parents, they were incredible advocates. They fought for a law requiring immediate searches for missing adults.
No matter what the circumstances.
Exactly. Before that law, there was often a waiting period for missing adults.
Like they assumed they were just off doing their own thing?
Yes, something like that.
But Brandon's case showed that's not always the case.
Yeah.
So this law, it's kind of a legacy for Brandon.
It is. It's known as Brandon's Law. And it's changed how missing person cases are handled in Minnesota.
That's amazing. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, good things can come out of it.
Absolutely.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We got the river theory, the missing 411 connection, even some talk about aliens.
Hey, you brought up the aliens.
I know. But what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, where do you stand on all this?
Honestly, I'm not sure. There's just so much to consider and so little to go on.
I know what you mean. This case, it really makes you think.
It does, and I think that's what the Mystery Quest team is hoping for.
Hoping for what?
They want to know what you think.
Our listeners.
Yep, they want to know if this case is worth a full episode.
A deeper dive into the mystery of Brandon Swanson.
Exactly.
So what do you say, folks? Are you hooked? Do you want to hear more about this case?
If you're as intrigued by this case as we are, we need your help.
Oh yeah, this is where our awesome listeners come in.
Exactly. Head over to www.mystiqst.rgugart.com and cast your vote.
Yeah, tell the Mystery Quest team what you think. Is this case worthy of a full episode?
A deeper dive into the mystery of Brandon Swanson.
Maybe even a field investigation.
Who knows, maybe they'll find some new evidence.
Or uncover a clue that everyone else has missed.
It happens.
And we know our Mystery Quest listeners. You guys are sharp.
Oh, yeah, you're always catching things we miss.
So go to www.mystiqst.ncom and make your voice heard. Tell them what you think.
We've laid out the facts, highlighted the weird stuff. But maybe you've spotted something we haven't.
A detail that just doesn't sit right with you.
Or maybe you have a completely new theory.
We're all ears.
After all, sometimes a fresh perspective is all it takes to crack a case wide open.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to finally shed some light on what happened to Brandon Swanson.
We can only hope.
But before we sign off, we want to leave you with one final thought.
A little something to ponder.
We've talked about the conflicting details, the lack of evidence, the strange theories.
But what if, and this is just a thought, what if the answer isn't about where Brandon went?
But when he went.
It's a mind-bending idea, I know.
But think about it. He mentioned seeing city lights that weren't there.
Could he have somehow stumbled into a different time, a different reality?
It sounds crazy.
It does.
But so does a 19-year-old vanishing into thin air.
Right.
So as you head over to www.mystiqst.com/day to vote, keep that question in mind.
What if the truth is even stranger than we can imagine?
And on that note, we'll leave you to your theories.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
And until next time, happy sleuthing, everyone.